What is up, guys? Zan from the Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to show you guys how to attack the Blitz 3. But before we get into the video, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys take the time to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads coming your way here on the Madden YouTube channel. If you guys want to take your game to the next level in Madden 21, check out my strategy site, gridirongameplans.gg. Gridiron Game Plans is your one-stop source for all things competitive Madden. Every week in our Vault update, we take a look at the meta, or the most effective tactics available being used by pro players on the MCS circuit, breaking down not only how and why the pros do what they do, but most importantly, how you can counter those metas when you face them in online gameplay. On top of that, your subscription also includes any and every offensive and defensive game plan released on the website while your subscription is active. If you guys are currently looking for a way to transition out of the man coverage meta after the most recent AP update, I would highly recommend my nickel 2-4-5 defensive game plan with the best pass rush cocktail, lockdown coverage combinations for the popular passing metas such as bunch tight end, trips tight end, and also gap shoots for all the popular under center power runs. So definitely head over there and check that out. And I'm actually still working on my spread offensive game plan. I have over 5 hours of breakdowns out of the 2x2 formations, like the 2x2 formation you're going to see in today's video, as well as the 3 hours that I just released yesterday out of the spread ace. That spread ace is going to allow you to kind of have an old school wing tee approach used with the new era style of offense. So definitely go check it out. It is a great way to establish the run, keep your opponent off balance, and kind of stay off that beaten path, playing an off meta style of Madden football. So go over to gridirongameplans.gg. $9.95 per month unlocks the entire website. Okay guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. We are going to be talking about the Blitz 3. We're going to be talking about it from a match standpoint, and we are also going to be talking about it from a mabel standpoint with our zone drops being set. This defense is the #1 defense that I think you guys will be seeing online in head-to-head matches, because it basically allows people to still shift their defensive line, pinch their linebackers, and be able to take this player right here and fly through the middle against the run calls. So, when it comes to, those inside zone calls, a lot of players obviously know how to kind of like offset their user and shoot through gaps. If this doesn't work, they basically will, just line up in a different spot and, kind of try to shoot the inside zone this way. You're going to find ways that you can, shoot the gaps. It's a really good run defense for shotgun runs. Now, like I said, the spread ace game plan that I just dropped yesterday absolutely gashes this defensive meta, but this could be a little bit of a pain for those of you that don't want to be in 2 receiver, 2 tight end, 1 running back personnel. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a basic route combo seminar that you guys can run against this coverage. Now, let's first go ahead and kind of start off by breaking down what is this coverage from a default standpoint, talking about no zone depths being set whatsoever, playing the pure match rules of this defense. Now, this is a fire zone blitz, also known as a cover 3 blitz, and rather than playing zone behind the blitz, they decide to play match coverage. And the most important part of the match coverage is, what are the seam flat defenders doing? The seam flat defenders are responsible for a slot receiver in a 2 receiver side, meaning no trips. They are going to be responsible for that slot receiver going vertical down the seam and or vertical and then out into the flat. So basically they're taking any route by the slot receiver in a 2x2 set, vertical or quick to the flat. So as it pertains to, how this is going to be run, let's say we were to take a route combination like quick slants. This is going to be something where obviously those 2 flats that we have, Higbee and Cooper Kupp, are going to be played by those pink zones, and then the middle of the field is obviously being matched man to man. So you see that those outside players are going to play man match on those slant routes. Now, here's the good news. Obviously, if they are playing match coverage, man coverage abilities such as deep route knockout, such as medium route or short route knockout, abilities such as 1 step ahead or bench press, if they decide to use those abilities are not active in zone. So even though this is a zone match concept, you're not going to get those man abilities to fire on these matching principles. Now, obviously this is something where, the user is going to be in the middle of the field with this defense. More often than not, you're going to see something, resembling, this, where it might be a 5-man pressure with the user just kind of lurking the middle of the field and trying to take away hitches and Texas routes and drags and things of that nature. So double slants over the middle is kind of a baitable route combo. So I want to kind of break this down from a standpoint of let's make this safer. So let's talk about something very generic like basic curl flats. We've already expressed that the slot receivers, Higbee and Cup, will be played appropriately by the seam flat defenders, meaning Jones will follow to the flat on Cup and Phillips from the safety position will fly down on the quick flat to Higbee. We have also expressed that the match thirds on the outside will play man-to-man on our outside receivers, Reynolds and Robert Woods. But we also know that in this match principle, there are no zone drops being set, meaning that these curl routes are good isolation balls on either side of the field. So you're going to be able to throw the curl and kind of just click on an aggressive catch it. This is something that you should absolutely be installing in your offense. Outside curls are really, really good. This is something you should be calling against, cover 3 as well. A basic curl flat combination. Obviously right here, if they're playing stock purples, those purples are going to kind of drop out underneath the curl area and more so leave the flat open for the check down. Sometimes it depends on which hash mark you're on, or if you're in between, it might change where they drop accordingly. But it's a great combination to force these purple zone defenders in a standard cover 3 to have to choose to defend the curl, which is what he does, giving up the quick throw to the flat. And then obviously you see over here on this side of the field, if I raise the camera up, this player right here in his purple is doing the same thing where he's giving up the flat. So it's a simple isolation high-low read, but it is a little bit better, obviously, against your standard match coverage. So let me go ahead and break that down again for you here. When we go to this curl flat combination, which is simply, the number 1 receivers on the outside are on curls, the number 2 receivers in the slot are on flats, you're going to be able to kind of throw this ball, click on, make aggressive catches on the outside. Now, obviously, Gilmore is really, really solid. Reynolds a little bit lower overall, but you see that these possession style catches are going to be very easy for you to make. It's basically you or nobody on the outside. So as it pertains to the user kind of just chilling in the middle of the field, which I'll just mimic here by putting him in a mid read, obviously he won't just sit there flat-footed. He's going to choose one side or the other. You can kind of read like, okay, is he going right? Let's throw it to the left. Or is he going left? Let's throw it over to the right. So that's a very, very simple route combination that you can throw. Now, the other thing that I like about this route combination is that we also know that we have this match principle. So one thing that you can actually do is if you start to notice that they're baiting a route, for instance, let's say that they're flying over to the right. I'm going to simulate that by putting Bentley on a man assignment on Reynolds and just clicking off. If you notice this, we also know that 10-yard digs or in routes of any type are good at beating man coverage. You think about plays like bunch weak flood or bunch offset flood. That backside in route is always open because of this style of defense. I mean, you're going to have this in-breaking route. You could just throw it right here and get that diving catch, and that's 15 yards. So if they want to play this game where, they're baiting a curl to one side or the other, you can actually pick up a little bit more yardage. Let's say, for instance, he's going to bait Woods this time. You could actually go double in routes that are smart routed at the first down marker in double flats as well. That'll give you a little bit more of a yak potential here over the middle. And you see right here how I can throw that ball even against, an in the zone defender. Obviously Reynolds doesn't have the catch in traffic to kind of go with this, but it is something that you can do. So, with this defense in particular, when it's a 5-man rush and they're just sitting in the middle of the field, even if they want to drop a spy or, something like that and just rush 3 or 4, it's still a simple left or right read. You can isolate the curl flat defenders or the seam flat defenders so well in this defense. And you see that's just 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. Now, here's the truth. Most players are not going to sit here in the match coverage. For one, it's not as good as pure man. There's this phase where a guy is dropping in his back pedal in zone and then has to make that decision to convert on the player in his area and convert into man coverage. And that's reliant on ratings like awareness and play recognition. And sometimes that phase of converting from zone drop into match results in the receiver having enough time to create separation before he converts. That's why things like digs to the backside can sometimes get open against match thirds, for instance, whereas they might be a little bit more tightly contested against man. The truth is most players are going to go into their zone drops, and they're going to set, like a 520 or a 525. And they're going to play double mabel. Now, double mabel is the best case scenario because what we know about this style of defense is that there's so much on the user, and you also factor in that anytime you set your zone drops, there are no zone chuck animations. So I'm going to go ahead and illustrate that here. Let me go ahead and play press coverage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to reset my zone drops. I'm going to go ahead and reset my zone drops here. So I've canceled the 5 and 25 rule. I want you to watch what these seam flat defenders do. In particular, the one on the left, and I'm going to move this one down on the right. If I put them directly over where they're close enough to kind of get a chuck animation, I want you to watch what those guys will do if you leave your zone drops alone. And actually right here, they just played a man-to-man. So let me go back to the coaching menu here. Resetting the play is supposed to, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, that applies in non-match plays. My apologies. So a little tip within the tip. If you call a play that has pink zones on it, whether it's a cover 3 or a cover 4 type of play, and you reset the play before you snap the ball, they'll play their match principles accordingly. But I want you to still see that there's a difference here. I'm going to go ahead and set the Mike Blitz 3 as an audible. And I'm going to come out in cover 3. Let's come out in cover 3 sky if we have it. Let's see. And we actually do not. So we'll just come out in cover 3 buzz. And I want you to watch here how when I don't have zone depth set, what the purple zone on the left does to this slot player. So if I press my coverage, we've got this purple zone right here for Jones. And I want you to watch how he tries to get a reroute on Cooper Kupp. He's not going to press him like it's man-to-man, but he just kind of funnels him off, passing him off to the safety help and the hook help behind him. This is something that is really, really important to cover 3 defense, in my opinion. In fact, I think it's the most important thing is the ability to just kind of get a little shove on the slot receiver. Again, we're looking right here at this player and how he is going to jam this guy off the line. This act of just pressing him right here narrows his release to the inside and makes the user's job, whoever you are, using right or left, easier. Kind of narrowing, the routes. If you can imagine here, imagine that Cooper Kupp gets a free release down the seam and you have to be on the numbers to the left while you've got a drag underneath. Well, this spacing, as we know in Madden on current gen, is a lot easier to bait, where you can kind of like bait the drag and then peel back underneath the seam and get those super animations, right? So many players rely on their ability to lurk like that. Well, the truth is that when you set your zone drops, that those chucking animations, they go away completely. Anytime that you have a zone drop set, they go away. So let me go right back and I'm going to set those zone drops again. So I kind of want to make sure that you guys understand how that works. Most players, in order to defend the deep sidelines, they set their zone drops. Well, the benefit to you as an offensive player when this happens is that when they do this, those players will not actually jam anybody. And it doesn't matter if you're playing match or not. So let me go ahead and, for instance, play blue zones on the outside and purples on the inside. So what this defense effectively is, this is the #1 defense that you're going to face in terms of zone, is we've got a short outside zone here. We've got a short outside zone here. We've got a deep outside zone here, a deep outside zone here, and then we've got the help all the way over the top of those sideline zones on both sides with a deep middle third that is, responsible for playing the entire middle of the field while you're lurking underneath. Well, the benefit to this is now that because there are no zone chucks, Cooper Kupp on his route gets a free release. So now I can, throw that ball as soon as possible down the seam. Well, this is a challenge now for the user, because let's say that we invert this. We're now playing those purples that jammed, right? Let's invert this and play our linebackers in the deep zones and put these purples right here. You would think that those purples would jam, but the truth is they won't. So, if I want to go 4 verticals on a play like this, it's still going to turn those guys loose in the seam. Now, obviously right here, I don't want to throw the ball right at the free safety, but this double seam concept becomes a real challenge for this safety, because now we're getting no reroute on either of those slot receivers. So right here, as you take a look at this and you're reading this field, you've got the middle third defender over here on the left hash mark guarding there. You've got this seam route that's wide open over here on the right. this is one of the easiest areas of the field to exploit against the Mike Blitz 3 if they've got zone drop set. So let me go right back into that and correct that mistake. So, so many players don't understand that, when double mabel is happening, take the quick ball down the seam. So many players are going to struggle with this concept. So, you see a defense like this, you're going to be able to kind of read it as, double seams, 4 verticals, straight up 4 streaks. And then if this guy isn't keen in the middle of the field right off the snap, you're going to be able to just instantly throw, just bang, right there. That ball in the seam, inside pass lead, most likely is going to be a little bit better. And obviously Higbee is a little bit more of a challenge. Let me go ahead and do this one more time here. So, and the other thing that it plays to our benefit is that most players are not going to play that zone coverage that I just called, where the linebackers are the ones getting deep in the seam. More often than not, the linebackers fly out into the flat and the curl flats, and the safeties are the ones jumping out deep to the sideline. This coverage actually is better against double seams where the linebackers are in the 25-yard hooks, because you notice how they drop into the seam really deep as they go to the outside. Whereas if I run it this way, which is the way that most players tend to run it, you're going to notice that just in general, this opens up right away off the line. So if we go 4 verticals here, you're going to be able to throw just bang inside pass lead. You see how much more open that is when you run it that way? It's because the linebackers don't take away that quick seam off the line. So kind of the tip within the tip there is that if you want to run this coverage and you're getting double seamed, the linebackers in the 25-yard blues dropping back into the seam before they go to the sideline is a way to kind of muddy up that middle read. But the truth is, like I said, the blue zones are better, and the drawback to this defense is that the seams are super weak when they want those nickel corner and the safety playing the deep sideline. So now, as you can definitely tell, there's a ton of responsibility for the user, and a lot of times what they're going to do is they're going to put that safety equidistant in both seams to help him be able to get to both throws, and that's going to allow the user to play a lot lower, which I'm going to mimic with a spy. So what you're going to see now is kind of the double seam. When you take a look at this, you're going to snap the ball and you're going to have an inside pass lead to, obviously that guy's in the zone, he's got insane reaction time, but if he weren't in the zone, that's a ball that you could throw to either seam route. Again, Zone Hawk isn't going to be active on this, but again, you're going to have an inside pass lead. At this point, if the user doesn't go over here, that's a low ball down and possession catch there. That's an inside pass lead, possession catch there. It's a really, really simple throw that you can make. Now, let's say that your opponent is smart and they know that they are going to, they're basically going to play the coverage where the linebackers are muddying up the seam reads, right? So like this, where, let me go ahead and put these guys back into their blue zones here. Let me go ahead and shade down, put these guys back into, run it. Sorry about that. Do it like this. So something like this, where they're running it like this, which is really getting those linebackers directly off the line, dropping into that window where you kind of want to throw that ball inside pass lead. You see that ball obviously is there, right? But obviously, it's a little bit tougher to throw that ball off the line. So let's say that they are doing that and you're noticing that the seams are really challenging. That means definitively, when you see that happening, that means that you've got the corner route open. Because what they're going to struggle with is going to be that their deep defender is the linebacker rather than the nickel corner or the safety. And then those safeties are rotating down. So let me go ahead and kind of show you here. If I were to play it more like something like this, right? With this guy in the middle of the field, what you're going to notice here is, and you're going to probably want this on one hash here to kind of do this here. What you're going to notice is that the corner route is going to be something that is a little bit easier to go get in this spot, because now with this guy dropping like this before he goes to the outside, he doesn't get to the sideline fast enough. So I want you to watch how this kind of works. Now, also kind of factor in that Gilmore is insane on this as well. So let's say, right here, we got the backside flat in that we started the video off. And then we've got kind of just a flood combination here. You're going to see here how this route being thrown out underneath is a lot easier because that linebacker is dropping back into the seam off the line. And again, we know that Gilmore has eyes in the back of his head. But because this guy drops so far into the seam and doesn't get any width out towards the sideline, that allows us to outflank him and throw that ball out to the outside of him. You see that 25-yard blue zone from the linebacker has no shot. The only player that can make that play is the outside third, which Gilmore really tried there. So, in this situation, you could run a route combo that looks, kind of like this, and you're going to be able to attack this if they've got those linebackers in the blue zones. Now, if they have the linebackers in the purple zones instead, obviously this route combination is a lot more of a challenge, because this guy is much more capable of playing the corner route to our tight end in the slot than is the linebacker. So you see right here, like if I try to throw that ball out there, you can still fit it underneath of him, which is nice. So kind of keep that for what it's worth. A slot corner route, if it's a steep one, can get out there into that spacing, which is really, really good. In fact, that's something I break down in my spread game plan out of this set. This is the book that I'm in. But, and then of course on the backside, while you've got them chasing their tail with this, so let's say that they're, again, in this defense, where, they're kind of just lurking in the middle of the field, they give that up enough. Now all of a sudden this user is going to be chilling over here, and we're right back to square one on our flat in route on the backside. So now you see him vacate the middle. All of a sudden you've got this throw wide open on the backbreaker route, and that flooding concept is really huge to be able to attack this. So guys, I think I just went through about 20 minutes of breakdowns here. We've got curl flats, we've got flats and ins, we've got ways to beat the match. We've talked about how the jam and cover 3 in the slot is the most important element to helping you defend the seam routes. We've shown you what to do if the linebackers are getting back in the seam. We're showing you what to do if the safeties are the ones playing, the deep sidelines. This is not a defense to be feared. The only thing that you should be worried about with this defense is whether or not your opponent is capable of shooting inside zone and has, like an enforcer deflator that can make your running back fumble. Passing against this is not that big of a deal. They're going to have to overcompromise themselves. Just breathe, start with your curl flats, then start to work some of those, those in-breaking routes. If they're playing the match, obviously you know how to manipulate that. If you notice that your slot receivers aren't getting jammed off the line, that means their zone depths are set. Attack the double seam, stress their user. And of course, we'll kind of just give you one final parting gift here. Let's say that they've got a really good user. I mean, the truth is there's a lot of players out there that do have a good user. Let's say for whatever reason, this guy's terrifying you in the middle of the field. He's just dropping down the middle and he's a beast, right? And they've got both the seams covered. And for whatever reason, you just don't trust, that throw. Why can't you attack like this? Where you end up with, you could go verticals and then just put your running back on an option route. If he's going to vacate the middle of the field, throw this ball right over the middle. They're not going to be in a spot where they're going to be able to defend that check down unless they want to rush 2. Now, if they want to rush 2, something like, let's say that they've just got the right setup and they want to rush 2 and then they spy somebody, right? Okay, that's a simple manipulation. Anybody can manipulate a spy. All you have to do here is realize that the spy is chasing the quarterback. Move to the right, the left, throw him open over the middle. So that spy in the hole where that running back is going to check down, that's not that big a deal either. Guys, that's today's video. If you guys liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, drop those below as well. Subscribe here to the YouTube channel. We got videos 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, uploading every morning. And you guys should definitely go check out gridirongameplans.gg. Again, guys, keeping you ahead of the meta. We've been practicing against zone, setting the zone metas all year while most players have been running man-to-man. So this transition, I promise you, I got some stuff on the site, not only to attack what you're going to see, but also if you guys are looking for new defense to get yourself comfortable after the AP update. Hope you guys appreciated the video. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Until next time, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.